until I got to my senior year when I know I was about to walk out the door, and I really had my time management pretty wrapped up in school, and I knew how to manage things. I knew how to know the difference between social time and work time, and not, still at that time during my senior year, 90% of my time was devoted to school and maybe 10% social. And whatever you neglect starves. And so eventually those that were interested in me lost interest, or we never connected. And I say people as a distraction because we live in such a digital world now that we are not socially connected as we used to be. And what we find is people jumping in our inboxes and our pages becomes very intriguing because we starve that social component in our lives. And you forget the matters at hand. There are so many people forgetting that they're married. There are so many people forgetting that they're committed the minute that someone gives them attention via inbox on their page or anything like that. So it's a crazy world. And people are not crazy. Most of the time people are misunderstood. Your husband or your wife can very well get easily distracted by attention, mainly because you got up in the morning and you didn't say, "Good morning, sweetheart, I love you," hug them, touch them. And they log in, and that one person notices their page or their picture or their comment, and they stroke their ego. Next thing you know, your significant other is distracted. And you like, how is this happening? Don't you love me? It's amazing how people throw the word love up so carelessly when it's not a matter of love. It's a matter of different things fulfilling daily needs. It's okay to need attention. How you get it is very key, though. If you're married, your attention should come from your spouse. And when it's not, and it's starved, you're starved, you'll look for it from other people. And so instead of working at your day-to-day job, you'll find yourself online looking for that person to stroke your ego. Because my spouse didn't give it type attitude. Totally distracted. And when you look at those two words that I brought up when I was defining distraction, extreme agitation. When you look at those two words, you have to say, wow. Wow. A distraction is way deeper than what I think it is. If it's an extreme agitation, it means it's like an itch on your nose and you have to scratch it. And so it's based on how you highlight it. That distraction is not that deep. Everybody speak to me. And I don't know why I'm focusing on the distraction of people right now, but maybe I should. And maybe I should make this a 2-part thing, because there's an internal distraction that goes on that I want to dive into too. But I don't want to make this podcast as lengthy. People will spin you. And what I mean by that is they will spin you in a direction that you didn't intend to be in. But they're not to blame. You cannot fault anybody for distracting you. You have to take ownership of yourself. You have to be able to say, this is a distraction. This is not beneficial. This is not needed. It's a want. I like it, but it's not a need. And when you label things as they're supposed to be, then you operate differently. And then part 2, you must become accustomed with your weaknesses. Know your weaknesses. You know, if you pick up your phone and IG logo is on your homepage, you're going to click it and dive in it for 4 hours. When them 4 hours you could have prepared for dinner, instead of the kids running in, your husband running in, whoever you live it with running in, and then you having to throw the dinner away together. And then excuse me, you know I'm good for stuttering. It ends up being an epic fail because they're like, this just tastes like you smacked it together. Well, I was, and you know what you was doing. You was on IG. You was on IG, caught up in the pictures, caught up in other people's lives, and distracted, completely distracted. Is it a means of social connection? Heck no. We have labeled it that. We really have. And that's why we're socially dysfunctional now. We're literally socially dysfunctional. I don't know if I'm putting that word right together, but it sounds right. We're socially dysfunctional. And when someone doesn't respond to an inbox or page or anything like that, we become crippled mentally. Or if somebody does it to extreme, they start liking all of our pictures, we become overstimulated. It's not that deep. But you put it out there. Now, if they take it too far where it becomes a daily habit and you didn't just add them as a friend, then you need to look into like other stuff when it comes to that particular person. However, the digital world has made us so distracted. We're not invested in our families as much. We're not invested in our jobs as much. We're not invested in our futures as much. And we're watching people that are invested in all three, and we're watching them live out their best life. I'm not saying you need to take the IG app off your phone, but maybe you need to take it off your homepage. I'm not saying you need to take Messenger out of your Facebook features, but what I'm saying is you need to take the alert notification off your front page. Take control. Take control. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as narrowing your life down to the simplistic way of living so you stay focused, so you become undistracted. You're not reaching your goals to the degree that you want to, mainly because you're not maximizing your time. You're not maximizing on your time. You say, I only have 3 hours to do it. Somebody would take those same 3 hours and kill it. They would be running through calls, running through text messages, running through emails. They would be doing all the necessary things in those 3 hours. But you logged in. You're distracted. It's an extreme agitation that pulls you completely off track. Distracted. So, one thing you want to do after listening to this podcast is dumb down life. Dumb down life. Dumb down life. Turn certain notifications on. Your business email notification should be on. You should have the alerts on it. Certain pages that you're involved in that is beneficial for your business, you need to have the notifications on. Certain inspirational things that will keep you on track, you need to have it on. Certain things need to be logged off. Grow accustomed to writing things down and keeping it within eyesight so that you don't lose focus. I'm supposed to do this by this time. I'm supposed to be doing that by that time. I'm supposed to be doing this by this time. And the more you focus in on doing those things, the better life will get. And you say, how do you know? Well, why don't you try? Why don't you try? At least if you try, you could turn around and say, I put forth the effort and I got X, Y, and Z as a result. But if you sit back and you speculate, you're a bench warmer. You're not a part of the game of life. You're sitting back trying to figure it out. And it's okay to try to mentally figure it out, but then write it down. Simplify your thoughts. Unravel them. Write down simple steps of things that you need to take care of in order to make that goal tangible. And then put it into action. Think on it so much that it dictates how your next movements. And you'll find you're way more focused. This digital world, this penless world where you e-sign things, I'm challenging you to go back to the simple things of writing it down. Getting a pad and a pen. Getting your notes feature on your Apple phone and writing it down. Just so you stay focused. And then putting it up on the wall. Putting it on your dashboard. Putting it as a screensaver or a home saver. So every time you look at your phone, you're reminded of what you're supposed to do. What you are supposed to do, excuse me. This concludes part 1 of distractions. I will be covering a part 2, mainly because I know it's needed. And we'll talk about the internal distractions of emotions. Stay encouraged. Till then, I will keep in touch. This is ER, Emotional Response. Call, text, or email me. And remember, it only takes 2 seconds to hit the like button or comment. I love it when I get my inboxes. But I also love it even more if you would dare to leave a comment to allow someone else to see how beneficial it is for you so that they can adhere and they can become a better person. And they can even be challenged to take on a life coaching session for themselves to become a better person. Think about it that way. Everybody thinks in the opposite way. Think about it in the reverse. It's like handing a person a glass of water that you know is thirsty, but they're not going to open their mouth and say it. I know you need this. Here you go. Tune in next time. This is ER, Emotional Response, Life Coaching with Ink. I always enjoy talking to you, and I'm glad we're back together.